Democrats are facing a reckoning from the left in this 2026 midterm cycle, exemplified by the victory of progressive Abdul Ed-Sayed in Michigan's Senate primary this week. We spoke with Democratic Congresswoman Katherine Clark of Massachusetts, the House Democratic whip, earlier today, and began by asking her what his win signals.
Let me tell you what I'm seeing from my perspective, both here in my district in Massachusetts, around the country, and in Michigan. And that is that the American people are feeling such pain in this economy that they are looking for fighters. They are looking for people who are going to see their family and stand up for them, help give them that solid floor and no ceiling on their success. And so we are seeing candidates in Michigan and across the country that are doing just that. And that's why Democrats are meeting with success, because the American people know whose side we're on, and it's theirs. Whether it's the cost of housing or gas or groceries, everywhere I go, those concerns are raised, and people are worried about being able to afford and access health care. So our candidates are doing well because that's where our focus is, and that's who we are going to be fighting for when we get the majority in November.
You know, Congresswoman, just to follow on Kailey's question, I've got your district in mind, the 5th Congressional District in Massachusetts. You have to talk to the guys in line at Kelly's Roast Beef in Revere and also appeal to people who are walking out of their mansions in Winchester. It's an amazing contrast of values and income levels. And I wonder if your experience in your district is the answer to some of these questions about inward fighting in the Democratic Party.
Well, Joe, I think you're absolutely right. My district does have a wide variety to broad, proud working class communities and neighborhoods to some of the wealthiest zip codes in the country. But what unites my district, what we're seeing around the country, is that people want a fair shot. And people feel like this system is rigged against them. And there's an understanding that we cannot continue on this path where the very, very wealthy get the tax breaks. The very, very wealthy are able to pay into the White House and get their businesses selected for insider deals. And regular working people, everyday people, are left behind. And it's a story that I hear, and one of the most heartbreaking examples that I have heard in my own district and in states where I've been recently, like Arizona, is the story of moms who are telling me they are eating one meal a day. And they say it very matter-of-factly, that this is what they have to do to make sure that their kids have enough to eat. In the richest country in the history of the world, this is an absolute shame and an absolute failure of the Republican Party to see working people and make sure they can meet the basic needs of their family. And so we know that we can do both things. We can be leaders in innovation like we are here in my district. We can be leaders in academic ideas that come out of the lab and go into the private marketplace. But we can't do it if we leave the middle class and working people behind. And that is what people are experiencing in this economy.
Well, when we consider then what legislative answers may be for those issues, for affordability issues like on health care, as you were speaking to a moment ago, are notions like Medicare for all the solution? Your job is to count votes. I wonder if you see the vote count as being there, even if you get the majority for some of these ideas that are being propagated specifically by the left.
Yeah. So job number one for us in the majority with healthcare is putting back these devastating cuts that we're already seeing effects here in Massachusetts and certainly across the country, especially in rural parts of the country, where rural hospitals, who are often the largest employer in an area, are closing or are scheduled to close because they know they aren't going to make it with the Medicaid cuts that the Republicans very conveniently scheduled to truly hit the American people right after the midterms. But we are going to hold them accountable for that, and we are going to make sure that we put that money back. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be, how do we look at our system of prior authorizations and make sure that when your doctor recommends something, you can afford it and have access to the medication or the treatment your doctor prescribed. These are the fundamentals for families. That what I'm hearing around the country is a deep, deep anxiety and anger that these basics have been given away to the wealthiest of Americans, and they are being fed a bunch of lies from the White House and Republicans in the House. Just yesterday, Trump said that the economy is rated an A+. I could tell you everywhere I go, people give this economy an F. And we are fighting for an America that they can afford. And that is why we are going to meet with political success, because we're on the side of the American people.
So could you pass Medicare for all, as Kailey asks? Is that something worth pursuing? I'm assuming you believe you're going to have the majority in the House.
Yeah, I think we are going to have the majority in the House. And I think we are also, we will see where our numbers are. But there's lots of positive things we can do for health care that, that are going to be positive steps towards a shared goal, whether you're on the left or the center or the right of the Democratic Party. And that is health care as a right and not as a privilege for those who can afford it. So the specific vehicle, the specific legislation, we will see how that comes together. But what I can tell you is that the American people are finding it harder and harder to find health care, never mind afford it. So we have to look at this problem on a really global issue, going everywhere to how do we educate doctors? How do we make sure we have the professional nursing force that we need? How do we make sure we have pediatricians, all the way to how do we support mental health in our communities and make sure that everybody can have a doctor where and when their family needs it.
Congresswoman, I'd also like to ask you about some more immediate business that you could be contending with upon return from recess. The Senate, before it breaks for its own recess, very well could advance a continuing resolution to fund the government through December 11th. If indeed it gets sent over to the House, do you plan to vote to avoid a shutdown? Will the majority of your Democratic colleagues?
We absolutely want to see us fund government by the end of our fiscal deadline, which is the end of September. And that is a deep commitment that we have. What the Senate has proposed is a big improvement from what the House Republicans proposed before sending us home for recess. So we look forward to reviewing that and getting to yes with our colleagues.